What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's finally time for another top 10 countdown. I know it's been on hiatus since last fall, but I am finally bringing it back, and I am bringing it back in big fashion with my top 10 favorite Fall Out Boy songs. Fall Out Boy are originally kind of an emo alternative pop punk band that have transformed into something more of like an alternative pop rock, just a lot of different influences type band at this point in their career, and definitely not disrespecting their new material, but I will always have kind of a kindred spirit with some of that earlier work that really just sunk its place into my heart permanently. Fall Out Boy were one of my first loves whenever it came to music, falling in love whenever I was 13 years old. I got from under the Cork Tree, went back and listened to Take This to Your Grave, although I didn't fully appreciate that one until later, and then remember being so excited whenever Infinity on High came out in 2007. I was just a 15-year-old boy going into, I believe it was FYE, seeing that it was finally out, and I was just like, grab CD, run to counter, buy, run back to car with mom and listen immediately. Fall Out Boy will always kind of have that special magic for me whenever I go back and listen to albums like that, and even masterpieces like Folia Do, which I still feel like go down as very underappreciated. Be sure to leave a like on the video today, guys, and understand that these are just my personal choices. Don't be offended if your favorite song isn't on here, because this is my list, not yours. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out my number 10 pick. The singles from Cork Tree truly have a special place right here in my heart, just because I hold them so near and dear. They're so very special to me. A little less 16 Candles, a little more Touch Me. Some references thrown in there. Lyricist Pete Wentz really likes packing those into his music. We'll get into that in more detail on some of these future picks, but this one has one of the catchiest guitar riffs of the 2000s. It's something that had me hooked right off the bat. I remember watching the music video for it on Fuse, and I was like, I didn't exactly have the album at this time, but I was itching for more Fall Out Boy. This one is the one that pushed me over the edge and made me finally go out and buy the album for myself. I really love the vivacious and spirited opening on this track. Joe Troman, the guitarist, does a fantastic job to kick things off, and then Patrick Stump really starts to sell us on his voice here, showing that he can be very dynamic as a performer on this track that seems to be all about unrequited love and kind of searching for things in the wrong places, and that was kind of the subject of a lot of early Fall Out Boy songs, just relationship, bitter breakups, and we're going to see that more and more as this list progresses. Fall Out Boy were seemingly falling apart at the seams in 2008 and even into 2009 after Folia Do came out, but this album was kind of recorded in secrecy in 2008. Obviously, Infinity on High was a huge record. All eyes were on them. Everybody was looking to see what they could do, and honestly, this album underperformed, and still to this day, it is so underrated that it just kills me. In my opinion, this is the best Fall Out Boy album. No, I don't have tons and tons of picks as my favorite songs, because I do have a very diverse taste whenever it comes to my favorite Fall Out Boy tracks, but overall, if I had to pick an album that I needed to listen to from start to finish over and over again, and I could only have one, it would be Folia Do. Pete Wentz did such a fantastic job, and not writing personal lyrics, but pulling from his dark depression and just his personal life, and actually making something quite polarizing for fans and critics alike. In fact, critics seem to like it even more than the fans did, and that's kind of rare for them to pull that off, especially a band like Fall Out Boy. But honestly, this goes down as such a masterpiece just because I like what Pete Wentz was doing with this track. He's basically talking about these internal struggles that are going on here. It's one of the most unique that they've ever put together musically, and just the catchiness of the track. They use some outside instrumentation, different producers. They really shifted gears, but at the same time, Stump is killing it on the vocals, and just the musicianship that he wrote along with Wentz's lyrics just is top notch. Let's play this game. Come when you catch fire. I wouldn't miss to put you out. Rocketing guitars, riveting drums and bass, and a true sense of showmanship. And people wondered why Fall Out Boy stood out so early on in their career. I love the background shouts and screams from Pete Wentz on this track. I really feel like they kind of add to that bitter breakup taste that this one leaves in your mouth. But it's not bitter in the sense that, oh, I don't want to come back to this. It's like, who knew sour could taste so good that I would want to keep coming back over and over again? As soon as you hear the opening notes from Tell That Mickey Just Made My List, you know that you are in for a treat, and you just want to continue listening to all of their debut album, Take This to Your Grave. I will continue to speak the praises of this track until people just seem to get it. I'm so tired of seeing people focusing on tracks like, oh, American Beauty, American Psycho is the best thing that they've ever done. And it's just like, you look at that and then you look at the depth of moments like the Shipped Gold Standard, and it's just like, how could you not appreciate this so much more? That and the track that I already mentioned, Headfirst Slide into Cooperstown on a Bad Bet, are two of the most unique things that this band has ever put out into the world in terms of their musicality. And on the Shipped Gold Standard, the lyrical message stands true and tall as one of the best moments that they have ever done. Honestly, just kind of undermining those that have this high horse mentality, saying, hey, you know what? Maybe you're the problem. Maybe you're the reason this didn't work out. The hook on this thing is sticky as glue and begs to be played again and again. I love the start of the chorus and how it transitions just with those heavy pounding drums and the way that it flows all throughout the background, and then Stump's vocals as he nails those falsettos. It's just one of the most memorable things of Fall Out Boy's career. Long live the Car Crash Hearts. Thriller stands tall as one of the most anthemic songs that Fall Out Boy have ever done, kicked off by a spoken word intro by Jay-Z, the rapper, and it's just like Infinity on High was destined to be something different. Kind of a middle finger to the industry, and Pete Wentz saying with his lyrical content, which is often very poetic, just kind of saying, hey, we're gonna do what we want to do, and we're not gonna conform. Maybe our music can be consumed by the masses, but at the same time, the lyrics are gonna have a lot of hidden things in there, and I kind of hate that they've gotten away with that with more recent releases. Not to say that they've totally fallen off in that regard, it just seems like they're a lot weaker than they used to be. Thriller is one of those moments they really started to talk about where they are in terms of their stardom, kind of them getting catapulted into fame, into the spotlight, and where they stand now. It starts off after that spoken word intro, of course, with these hard-hitting, riveting guitars that seem like something more from like the metalcore scene or something like that, just kind of chugging along, but sounding fantastic. Honestly, still blow me away to this day. I don't know why I slept on this song for so long. I didn't give it the appreciation it really deserved, and here I am years later coming back to it over and over again and giving the spot it deserves at number 6 on my list. I really vibe so well with the chorus on Pros and Cons of Breathing. It really just showed early on why Fall Out Boy would be taking the reins and really controlling their career, leading the pack. Wentz took the helm for the lyrics on this one, with Slump coming in for the musicality of the track. That was one of the first ones in their career that they ever did that for, and that was really their signature go-to style before the hiatus in 2009. After that, they've kind of collaborated, wrote the songs together, giving credit 4 ways, crediting every song to every member of the band. But before this, Wentz really started writing lyrical content here, and obviously it was very personal for him. This is one that was kind of talking about, I want to hate you as much as I hate myself, kind of personal, bitter once again, and I talked about that earlier, saying, expect some bitter breakup songs early on in Fall Out Boy's career, and you can kind of see that here, but you love the shifting drums on this one, the more you listen to it, and just the way that the guitars hit you, kind of like a force. It's a nice little thing that they throw in, not just your standard debut album stuff, but they actually had some riffs in there mixing it up, some drum patterns that weren't exactly sequential to what you would expect for pop punk music. They kind of almost transcended it even with their first album. So kudos to this track, and kudos, of course, to Take This to Your Grave. You guys all know this one, Dance Dance, the stomping drum rhythm, the thick bass line on this one, and the tale of two teens, one of whom is bent on sleeping with the other. It's kind of desperate and sleazy, but almost earnest in a way, with it being Patrick Stump's personal favorite song that he has ever done, him claiming on Twitter, hey, this is probably the best achievement of my life so far in terms of what he's most proud of, and I can totally see why. He kills it on the vocals on this one, the guitars sound fantastic, it's a noisy track, it's a catchy one, but it's a little bit darker than the single that really catapulted them into the stardom. Obviously, Sugar We're Going Down, but we're gonna see that one very, very soon on this list. Sure, Believers Never Die, but damn, was it a long wait through that hiatus. I honestly didn't know if they were ever coming back, but they left us on a very high note, giving us Believers Never Die, a couple of new songs, including Alpha Dog, one that had been floating around for a while, but they finally finished it, and I honestly think it is a great transition for them into hiatus and kind of a hibernation type mode. It's kind of actually genius in terms of the lyrical content on it, with so many clever references being packed in there, so many double meanings, and the whole Alpha and Omega thing and the megalomaniac. There's so many different things packed into the lines. Honestly, if you take the time to dissect the lyrics, you're going to appreciate this one a whole lot more. And Stump's vocals on this one, some of the catchiest things that he's ever done, and he really shows off his vocal range. I'm just thoroughly impressed still to this day every time I listen to the song. What do I even need to say about Sugar We're Going Down? It is a staple in the scene for a reason. It's a song that everyone knows for a reason. It's catchy as all get out. Patrick sounds fantastic. The guitars are catchy, effervescent. The bass work is top notch. The drumming on it, everything you can recognize as soon as those opening drum hits just come in and then shine through with that guitar riff, you know what you're listening to. It's Fall Out Boy at their prime. Ooh, doing a little twist on you for the number one pick, my number one favorite Fall Out Boy song, the Carpal Tunnel of Love, off of Infinity on High. This is an album that sure got plenty of attention and respect, but honestly there's a lot of great songs on there that go unnoticed. Bang the Doldrums, Fame Greater Than Infamy, and obviously the Carpal Tunnel of Love. This is a huge favorite of mine. It was honestly my earliest favorite off of the album other than their singles, and I came back to it years and years later, and now with it being 10 years old, holy shit, I can't believe how old I am at this point. I'm 25, this came out when I was 15. You know what, I need a minute. In all seriousness, this is such a well-composed tune. It's one that shows their strengths in areas that you previously wouldn't have expected them to flex in. Honestly, they come in with the screams from Pete Wentz at the end of the song on the bridge, and it's just like, it kind of came out of left field. I didn't like it the first time I heard it, but the more I played it, I was like, why does this sound so good to me? It reminds me of some of the screams, obviously, on their debut. They pretty much have taken that out of their music since then, other than Pete maybe occasionally screaming live on Sugar We're Going Down, which is always a treat. I haven't seen it personally myself in person, but obviously I've seen plenty of videos. If they ever play the Carpal Tunnel of Love, and I am not there to see it live, I am going to be a very, very angry man. It felt good to get back into top 10 mode. I'm going to be trying to do these every 2 to 3 weeks on the channel, guys, rotating that with my Dear John Q&A series, so be sure to hit the like button to let me know that you did enjoy it. Let me know what other artists or bands that you'd like to see me do this with in the comment section down below, and leave some of your thoughts on my top 10 picks for the Fall Out Boy songs. Maybe leave your top 5 down there in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because friends don't let friends go unsubscribed. If you would like to see my top 20 Green Day songs, it's right here, or you can see another video on the channel that I think you might enjoy by clicking right over there. Social media linked in the description, and other than that, I will see you guys very soon right here on ARTV.